Please.
You're
Face
dumb as
square away,
shit,
please.
Meow Chan. Oh, whoever the fuck that is. I don't know what person that is I'm talking to right now. I mean, one thing if she, like, really was about to have sex with you, I think that would be pretty worth it. But, I mean, she's got, like, 30 people watching. I don't think that's possible that she can have sex with all 30 of them. They fucking thought it was hilarious, and they loved it until one chick decided this was, like, the worst crime imaginable and DM'd every fucking person in the guild and sat in a fucking Discord call until the guild disbanded.
I wish to set the record straight that what Jerome has said about me is untrue. Just like Anime Lover, he's using what little evidence he has to manipulate the narrative into making me look like the one who was intentionally destroying his guild. I first encountered Jerome when my friend, Aman Zug, invited me into one of his raids. I've always had a fear of speaking to strangers on voice comms because their response would include something along the lines of, "Is that your real voice? That has to be a voice modulation, right?" I didn't want to deal with them, and so I began to just shut up. Whenever someone asked me a question, I would just type it out in raid chat. The first time I ever spoke to Jerome, he was friendly to me. He wasn't like any other person who would immediately question if I was an AI voice changer. Whenever someone questioned my voice, Jerome would defend me, and I started slowly gaining the confidence to speak again. In a way, Jerome was kinda my role model. Aman and I would slowly start to show up more frequently to his raids. Despite wiping so many times and sticking around to the end of every single raid, I've never complained about it. To me, it was a lot of fun, and so I joined Green Tea and PvP. Because I was a guild member and no longer a random pug, I took the time to learn about what it was like to be a raider in the guild. I would frequently do log reviews for fun, and Athletics and I only started becoming friends when he saw me do a log review of Green Tea and PvP members on stream. Despite being a complete noob when it came to reviewing logs, my Twitch chatters were eager to give me advice, and I learned a lot. I got much better at navigating Warcraft logs, and that's when Athletics and I started discussing raid comms, strategies, and became great officer buddies. Week by week, we made quality of life changes for our raiders. We would counsel KT next to players who performed well in raid. Before enforcing this change, Nex would somehow end up in the hands of warriors, even though it was not a biz item for them. Whenever I could, I tried to prioritize nether vortexes to people who still needed belts. Knowing that Jerome couldn't afford the mats to craft a belt of the long road, I used my own personal funds to craft him a belt of the long road.
Yeah, a belt of the long road? No way! Oh my god, thank you! Meow, did you chip in for this too? This is so nice. Meow chipped in. Oh my god, thank you.
Everything I've done for Jerome was because I saw Jerome as a friend. The guild had really locked in at that point. We were so ready to conquer Phase 3, and everyone was already doing so much better than before. To me, it was really exciting. It really felt like our hard work had finally paid off, and things were just going to be alright when Phase 3 comes. However, the moment our guild run starts to improve, that's the moment when, in my eyes, the vibes I got from Jerome started to shift.
It's gonna take so fucking long, they're going so fucking slow. Oh my god. Timer, bro, they're just fucking sitting here doing fucking nothing! Can you give me... It should be a combat break. Can you give me Master Loot? Please, God. Athletics?
I've never really paid attention to voice comms, but I noticed that Jerome and Athletics were starting to argue more. I reached out to Jerome to see if I could help him talk it out or even offer an ear to listen to. He simply just replied that we are two alphas trying to make it in this world. I thought it was weird, but I simply just brushed it off, hoping that the situation would resolve itself. Every time after that, when Athletics and Jerome would get into a fight, I would try my best to avoid talking to Jerome, because I know that it would be of no use. Despite this, I still had fun raiding with Jerome in Green Tea and PvP. However, my perspective of Jerome started to change in that night inside of AQ40. Jerome is known to host pug raids all the time, but this time it was different. He was there with Anime Lover, and they were going to be there as a raider for another person's raid. In this raid, the loot rules were simple. Petrified Scarab was hard reserved, and the raid lead was going to roll 2k gold to the highest roller. The raid needed healers bad, so I decided to join on my priest to offer some help. We cleared up to Bug Trio, and up to this point, the raid lead had purposefully left on group loot. Considering the amount of mount and random junk that drops while doing trash, it made the best sense. Anime Lover then accidentally ninja pulls Bug Trio while the warlocks were summoning. I've been told by my friends that once an encounter begins, you're not able to change group loot to master looter. The item that was hard reserved by the raid lead ends up dropping, and the next thing you know, Anime Lover needed the petrified scarab and it went into his pocket. He then immediately demands 2k gold from the raid lead, despite saying that he didn't know what the loot rules were and hearts out. He was pretending that he had ninja looted by accident for content and drama.
Is ninja looted by accident? That's the best way to do it. Do we roll the 2k or what's going on here? Is the 2k getting rolled or not? The item dropped. Are we rolling the 2k? I think we need to roll the 2k. Because that's what the rule said, right?
Finally, in Satura, the badge of the Storm Guard drops and Jerome wins the role for that.
They're gonna ninja loot the badge of the Swarm Guard now. You know this, right? Like, you've caused this to happen. Ah! Anime, the only way I get badge is if you give this back. I will fucking do whatever. I will fuck you. I will have sex with you. Come back! Come, you motherfucker! If you don't give him this, he will not give it to me.
The raid lead decides to hold on to the trinket, forcing Anime Lover in a position to return the scarab.
I need you to be given the badge of the Swarm Guard first, or I'm literally going to bed immediately.
I don't know if they're gonna go for that.
Okay, Alt F4. See you later.
Anime, you give me the trinket and we do a swap. Just give me the fucking trinket. Anime, give me the fucking trinket. That'll solve everything. Just give it to me and I'll give it to him and then we do a swap.
I will cut this part short, but Jerome was basically extorted 300 gold and Anime Lover returned the trinket back to Jerome, in which he decided to trade with the raid lead to get back his badge of the Swarm Guard. What I've said is basically a very simplified version of the story. You guys should visit Meko's video if you want everything broken down to you in detail. Anyways, in regard to the situation, it's alright to form your own opinion. The raid lead fucked up master loot or that the trinkets went to their respective owners are all good points. But then, there's the fact that Anime Lover held the trinket hostage for content at the expense of others.
Yes, do people not understand what content is? That's the funniest part. That's the craziest part. It was content. It was a clacker's move. He took the item for fucking content. He was always going to give it back because it was content, because he's a fucking YouTuber. And he doesn't want to fucking lose his career over a dumb fucking item. It was content. If you can't see that, you're stupid. Because it's not good to reveal behind the curtain, but when someone does something like that, they're doing it for fucking content. You will understand if you stream for fucking 7 decades.
Please,
you're dumb as shit, Meow Chan. Oh, whoever the fuck that is. I don't know what person that is I'm talking to right now. You're dumb as fucking shit. L content, it was W content, and everyone loved it. They fucking thought it was hilarious, and they loved it until one chick decided this was like the worst crime imaginable and DM'd every fucking person in the guild and sat in a fucking Discord call until the guild disbanded.
I couldn't see myself raiding with a streamer who would enable such a behavior. Jerome is a pretty big streamer. He averages from 300 to around 400 viewers every single day. And he is the face of the World of Warcraft right now. If this is the kind of example he sets for his community, encouraging extortion and ninja looting, are we truly ready for Classic Plus? Jerome made a YouTube video in an attempt to expose me. He made claims that I've used my feminine traits to seduce men into a new guild.
She did seduce athletics. It is what it is, though. The lore on that is fucking crazy. Apparently, she seduced Anime Lover to the point where he was, like, in love. And then she seduced Athletics to the point where he started, like, gifting her subs. And then it's just, like, a crazy level of shit going on. And then she was maybe the driver of all this, which is possibly true. I don't have, like, direct evidence, but I think it might have been.
The truth is that I wanted to leave Jerome's guild because I did not want to be around someone who would allow ninja looting. I have no mercy when it comes to leaving toxic friendships or friend groups. If I find myself to be in an uncomfortable situation, I will simply step away and disappear. I have done this many times personally, in an act to protect my own mental health. Just because he has around 400 viewers on Twitch does not mean that I will give him any streamer privileges. In my eyes, Jerome was my friend, and my friend had failed to keep his friend accountable. I brought it up to Jerome multiple times, whether it was over Twitch chat or Discord messages, but to no avail. To him, it simply wasn't a big deal. There was no seduction involved. In Jerome's video, he mentioned that Athletics had spent 5 hours in a private call session with me, but that's not true. We called on Discord for about an hour, discussing our thoughts in regard to the drama, as well as the state of the guild if Amon and I were to part ways from Green Tea and PvP. Athletics also spent time chasing after Amon, who was the top DPS in the guild. He wanted to draw us back into the raid because 2 good players leaving is a huge debuff to the raid. Keep in mind that for Athletics and I, this is our first time encountering the Burning Crusade. We were complete newbies at the game, and I had a pretty huge role in the guild. I was in charge of loot council, assignment sheets, and log reviews. The act of losing me and Amon 3 days before Mount Hyjal and Black Temple would be a devastating loss for the guild. If you have any experience in regards to raid leading or managing a guild, you know just how important it is to have a good officer. It's all about logistics, and nothing about it is related to romance. Jerome, if you have any evidence that I did this all to destroy your guild and that there was any seduction involved, provide it. Show the evidence.
I don't have like direct evidence.
In the end, I had made up my mind and I wasn't going back there. Athletics then decided that Jerome's failure to take responsibility meant that he was going to lose Amon and I. He then made that tough decision to form his own guild. I did not seduce anyone during the recruiting process. Athletics did all the work. He sent messages to raiders in Discord, and I was only comfortable to reach out to a couple of people who I thought were close to me. Many people had expressed dissatisfaction with Jerome's behavior during the raid, and the incident that happened in AQ 40 simply acted as a catalyst for change. To simply make it all up and say that I used my charm as a girl to destroy his guild is simply absurd. Jerome failed to take the right responsibilities as a guild leader, and now he's just simply throwing dirt at me until I'm completely tainted. Jerome appeared cool-headed when he did his YouTube video, but during his 9-hour long stream, all he could do was throw dirt at me and my friends' names.
She's not gonna have sex with any of you, so I know it's like hard to believe. She's not gonna have sex with any of you. And one day, when the views are low, she's gonna switch to another game that you don't play, and she's gonna milk them as well. And you're just gonna keep coming back in and giving her money for attention. I mean, one thing if she like really was about to have sex with you, I think that would be pretty worth it. But I mean, she's got like 30 people watching. I don't think that's possible that she can have sex with all 30 of them. I mean, I'm perfectly fine. If you want to make a bunch of money from WoW streamers, from WoW viewers by milking them, that's totally not my business. You can do that. I'm not going to call people out for doing that. But if you're going to like disband my guild and like fucking try to take all the members and do weird shit, then I'm going to point out that you are milking people for money and giving them pretty much nothing. I mean, unless the sex is coming later that I didn't know about.
Twitch chat was completely unmoderated and people were free to throw insults at us. A very kind viewer of mine came to my defense and made a timestamp of all of the unhinged stuff Jerome had said about me with no evidence. The link to the VOD is in the description, and these are the timestamps. You can go see for yourself how truly unhinged Jerome was during that stream. Making this video was extremely hard for me because I had to go out there and face all of the evidence if I was going to make this video. All I can see is chat calling me an AI voice changer and that I'm secretly a man. Jerome lets his Twitch chatter spread hate and harassment towards me with no consequences. I will not spend time debunking what he said about me on stream because he can pretty much just assume that whatever he said about me and that stream is all made up. He doesn't have the evidence, and that should be enough to tell you the kind of person that he is. I want to be kind to people, but at the same time, being kind does not mean I will simply just turn a blind eye to corruption. Being able to stand against what is wrong when doing wrong seems to be the norm requires courage, conviction, and the strength to stand alone when necessary. Luckily for me, however, people send me supportive messages, and I'm really grateful for that. It reminds me that despite the evil that still exists in this world, there is still a glimpse of hope at the end of the tunnel. I will keep fighting for what is right. To be silenced under fear is cowardly, and I would rather do what is right than to act like a sheep in a herd. A lot of women in the WoW community had told me that they had faced similar experiences as me because they were a woman. WoW is not a friendly place for women, but yet we continue to play in silence and avoid conflict because we simply just want to enjoy the game. I've had comments from people that I should just avoid the drama, but what Jerome displayed the past few days were inexcusable, and it's up to me to expose the truth. I will not be silenced just because a big streamer thinks that he can get away with what he wants.
Hey everybody, this is Athletics here. I'm the former main tank and raid leader for No Hit Jerome's Green Team PvP Guild. Kind of going off the top of my head right now. I've been around since week one, raid one in Karazhan. Been through everything with Jerome in TBC, and I'm just here to kind of tell you guys my experience. I kind of took over as the main tank because there's some fallout with Dave Banner that was going on and Shobek with them not being able to clear Karazhan, and I offered to tank, and I kind of fell into that niche of the guild and became the main tank for the guild. I had never done anything like that before. I've always been a hunter player, so tanking was completely new to me. Throughout the entire time and experience of learning prop paladin and all the niche things that go on along with that spec in TVC, I got flamed a lot in Jerome's chat and by Jerome, kind of going through it. We had a big fallout in phase one with issues for with Nick. Uh, that was going on in the Discord, and every officer was having issues with Nick. There was a lot of comments going around in the Discord that shouldn't have been, and the entire office corps wound up leaving, and it left just me at the time. And I was the only one that stayed and kind of put everything back together. And I think a lot of the viewers on Jerome's stream saw that and were appreciative of me staying and kind of taking the reins and making things better. You know, over the weeks and raids and everything like that, we had like 7 hour TKs, 7 hour SSCs, but we wound up clearing all the bosses week one, I believe. Maybe not uh, uh, all at Tempest Keep, but we did clear all SSC, I believe, week one. And the raids slowly got a little bit better as they got more of an understanding for what was going on in a raid leader position. And I really started to enjoy it. I put a lot more time and effort into it. The raids started to drastically improve when I was making raid compositions, watching guides, you know, putting my input into the guild and the raids, and I was really enjoying it. There was a time where we got like some new recruits and everything like that, and Meow and Amon wound up showing up to the guild, and I kind of noticed right away that they're really good players. Amon was topping the DPS on Warrior, and Meow was super knowledgeable healer and everything that was involved with the games, like logs, assignment sheets, you name it. Meow was on top of it when it came to that type of stuff. You know, I was really happy for what we were doing in phase two. We came a long way from basically rock bottom in phase one. You know, I was having a good time raiding, and then suddenly there was just kind of some tension that was going on in the raids with Jerome and myself, and it kind of felt like, you know, he didn't enjoy the raids being as good as they were. There were constantly comments in his stream about, you know, these raids are too good. It's not good for the viewers and everything like that. And I was like, well, you can
Yep.
have your good raids and you can have your demon pug raids. You know, you can have both. You know, and fill both content slots. You know, that's not something to be upset about. I don't think that he really liked that the raids were going as well as they were. It wasn't him that was controlling the raids, and he started to kind of flame me a lot more in the raids for no reason. And there's kind of this tension, you know, every raid between me and him, and it kind of built up. And eventually, there was a comment that was made in Karazhan about, you know, wanting to kill me, and it was him saying it and Anime Lover saying it, and then I think you kind of chimed in, meow, and said in game, question mark. And they were like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So that kind of threw me for a loop and got me pretty upset. I'm putting all this time and effort into this guy's guild. I've been there from rock bottom, and he's saying stuff like that with some guy that is not in the guild and creating all this drama and tension. And, I messaged Jerome a lot, and I'm telling him, hey, this something's off with this guy, anime lover. It just doesn't feel right. Friends don't say that about friends. And he's creating a lot of drama in the guild about Glaives, talking bad about me, and I just had had enough at that point with anime lover. So I kept g kicking him over and over again, and had to deal with that a lot. Lo and behold, we had the AQ40 incident after the fact. I want to say about maybe a month or so later. There was incidents in between, but that kind of got the entire office corps mad that the ninja looting was being played up by Jerome and Anime, and it wasn't appreciated by any of the officer corps. I woke up to the news where basically Amon and Meow had quit. And, these were some of my two best officers in the guild that I had built up a good friendship with. And I know these are good players. And losing them reminded me of phase one all over again. And I was like, man, I really don't want to have to go through this again. On Sunday morning, after this had all happened, I had a conversation 45 minutes to an hour with Meow, trying to get her back in the guild. We eventually came to some type of understanding that, we're not going to allow Jerome to sabotage everything that, we had worked for towards this guild and have him screw over our raid for his content. And so we were going to raid. And I was like, okay, cool. It wasn't 5 hours like he claimed in the video. It was literally an hour. I took 5 hours talking to various other people in the guild to get them to stay, including Amon and Act Shifts and some of the other people that were in the guild after all this drama had went down. I'm telling Jerome in DMs, I'm like, hey, Jerome, you've got to make some type of statement about this. This does not look good. Just come out and say, that you don't support ninja looting and that, it was all a misunderstanding. We can get past this. It was a mistake. And what does Jerome proceed to do? Instead of taking my advice, he tells me, no, you're wrong. I don't see anything that I did wrong, even though he enabled, went along with it, was laughing about it, and was just playing it up for content because that's all that's on his mind. So the very next day, he goes on and flames the officer corps and why they had left and all this other stuff, and that proceeds to get Amon and Meow upset, and they leave again. So that kind of cements that my officers are now out of the guild. This is exactly what's happening in phase one all over again. And so I said, okay, I've had enough. I've done everything I can. I've got someone that was helping me at Meow with all of the assignment sheets, attendance sheets, loot council sheets, you name it for the guild. I had another person that was helping me with everything, and I enjoyed that. Basically, I didn't have to do all the work at this point. I had another person who was competent and able to be there to assist in all this busy work, basically. And I didn't want to lose that type of person. So I was like, okay, you know what? They're leaving. I'm going to leave too. And eventually, after some discussion with the officers and my friends, that were not officers in the guild, I decided, you know what? I built it all up from phase one. I kind of brought the guild back from the grave. I am going to create my own guild. I'm going to get all the officers that left. I'm going to talk to people who are in the guild that do not like this type of content, lack of morals and everything else that's going on. And, I'm just going to pull people if they want to have smoother runs and not demon runs and not be used for content all the time. And I get that Jerome streams and his job is to create content, but there's a way to do that without fucking over the people who are putting all the time and effort into your guild to make it better. And the way that he was handling it was not something that all of us appreciated, and it could have been a lot better handled by him. So that's kind of where I was at. And I was like, I just DM'd everybody that was a core raider, and I said, hey, I put on in all the time and effort along with some of the officers. If you want to come over to the guild, you can. If you don't want to, no pressure. Feel free. And that's kind of where we're at. And after that, the fallout was like crazy dramatic, and we had a lot of just unneeded, unnecessary comments directed at me. And Meow and some of the other officers that were in there, I think nines as well. And it was just unwarranted and completely made up and false. And when you have uh, someone like me that's been around for, I think, 7 months now that I've been subscribed to Jerome, and I think I've gifted, I don't know, like 20 subs or something like that, if not more, to his channel. I'm the type of person where if I see a content creator that I like and who is good for the community, I want to support that person. That's what I saw in Meow stream. It has nothing to do with being a simp. I was there to basically support someone that I thought was good for the community and had good content, and I wanted to see that person succeed. And I think that's why anybody who donates to a streamer on Twitch or subscribes or does any of that stuff has the same type of, you know, mindset and mentality. They're there to support that person because they see what they're doing and they're there for uh, the good content and supporting them and succeeding. So yeah, the whole simp accusation is just ridiculous. It's a farce. It's a way for Jerome to create more drama out of something that's not there. I've never gone and approached Meow in any other way other than talking about WoW and being professional. I think she can attest to that as well. But yeah, that's just my side of the story.
Until Athletics started raid leading, I was avidly looking to join another guild, and then Athletics took over and kept me and another officer. But at that time, it was just like the SR sheets were constantly getting messed with. Cackers was trolling, messing with the SR sheets, literally trying to get Jerome banned in Discord, and like he still like supported him and like defended him over guildies. And then obviously the recent events of defending another troll over his uh, guild officers, anime lover. So I mean, it was just every week there was something. Every week there was something that would just piss you off.
I do not wish to discuss this drama again on this channel, so this is the only time you'll hear about this incident from me. Keep calling me an AI voice changer or a man if you want, but exposing my face will only put me in further risk. I will not risk myself unnecessarily on the internet to a bunch of trolls just to prove that I am a woman. It's absurd. If you made it this far, please share this video to your friends and community members to expose the toxicity that is in this World of Warcraft community. It all helps. Thank you.